This is where it all started. It's the birthplace of the name of Sunderland.
Everything happened here. The East End of Sunderland was where the money was created, the shipbuilding, the coal trade. It was central to some of the greatest adversities of Sunderland, like cholera and typhus.
As the city moved more to where it is now, this area fell into decline. The deterioration of the building really took its toll.
I lived in the East End of Old Sunderland town, and when I looked out the window, there was this building, a Georgian church, and I fell in love with it. I asked who looked after it, because it was in such a state. There wasn't a congregation of people when I came in, but there was a congregation of spiders. So I took it on. It was my castle. It was my second home. And your wishes don't always come true. That's what they say. But my wish to see this building saved has come true.
One by one, community member by community member, the team have built really meaningful relationships with those people immediately around. And then those people have become champions for that project. And that has then spread. And now the building is part of the cultural landscape of the city. It's tucked away in the East End. It's not exactly the beaten path, but people beat a path to be here and to be part of it.
I think what we wanted to create here was a pride of place. It's about getting people to realise actually we've got really rich, vibrant history, and it's about linking the threads of history back to any event that we do.
Opening up a heritage building like this as a community resource is connecting people to history on a more individual basis, a more accessible basis really, and that might open up into much wider historical research, or it might just be finding out where your family came from and why they came to be here in the first place.
It anchors you to that place at that time, rather than it being just a blip of a thing that's happening right now. I think if you connect into local culture and history, you feel part of a much longer story.
So many people have direct and personal links to this building. The weddings, the christenings. You know, we've got a woman working on the embroidery downstairs who is embroidering the font that her mother was baptised in.
My grandparents lived across the road. So when I was very little, we used to walk down here every Sunday. And it's nice to still have that.
I work with a lot of the school children from the 3 surrounding primary schools. And I see them when they come in and they're fascinated. They are fascinated. They are looking around, they are reading what's on the wall, they are looking up.
So the connections that they form with the place and the sort of regularity that they can get down here and do things and become involved helps them take ownership of that space as well.
When you come to an event here, the minute you walk through the door, your learning starts.
What's brilliant about this place is that it supports so many different artists and performers and writers, and it's just a real rich mix of people that can use the space.
The work that's been put into curating the programme here has been so carefully done and so wonderfully responsive.
I think I might have asked if they had any deaf cafes here, because I could see it was perfect for that. And they said no, but straight away they were like, but could you come and do that?
We tried to fit into a niche. The fire station and pub breaks have come on at the same sort of time as we have. So not replicating or doubling what they're doing, but actually finding what suits our building.
Their whole approach completely resonated with us. So an artistic eye on top of social value.
There's so much on that aren't going to cost you money. And it's nice to have all those different things for people from all walks of life just to come in. We can just step out of the rat race for 5 minutes and get back to what you want to do.
I think it's incredibly important, especially for people who may not have access to things that other people can afford.
Just creating that space for people to just sit and be together, and maybe they're doing an activity so it's not super awkward. And I think increasingly those things are hard to come by, those spaces where people can just sit and be. They're not expected to buy a coffee or a t-shirt or whatever else they might have to buy while they're there. They can just come together and be part of a community. To me, that's the power of spaces like this.
I think I just enjoy that people get passionate about it. You know, they want to do it, they want to learn, and they're really smile on their face when they've done it. What a good feeling.
I think it's important because it's part of people's well-being, isn't it? And a way of expressing themselves that is not necessarily for a qualification and not necessarily for an end outcome.
And then when the artist commissions came up, I was encouraged to apply for one. It was brilliant. It was incredibly validating. It's been immeasurably important for us.
The space and the people running the space have been very open and flexible in letting our project evolve while we've been here. So we've gone from one initial idea has grown into something else quite organically.
You can't discount the importance of the people who work here as well. There's something amazing for the warmth of welcome that you get when you come into a place like this.
They are one-offs, really. You know, I couldn't think of a better team.
If you do come in regularly, you're going to know the staff that work here. You become, I use the word friends, because that's what it feels like when you come in here often.
It's even just down to knowing which type of biscuit the person who comes in prefers. That's the kind of level of detail that we're talking about, and it's beautiful to see. From Tracy down, John, Posey, Kim, and Peter are all just two human being, lovely people.
They're down-to-earth people, and they put the heart and soul into what they do. They're like family. They became like family. They understand my loving for the church.
They care about the building, they care about Sunderland, and they care about their audience. It's just like a match made in heaven.
One of our building users, who uses the building on a regular basis, said to me that we were sometimes the only people that he saw outside of his carers. And it kind of struck home the importance of the building for him.
The first time I came, I knew no one in the room, but you sit at a table and you talk to people. You're not sitting isolated.
So there's a really great group of people, and I feel part of that now.
You know, these places are largely out of bounds usually, you know, a big beautiful church, you can't come in and make noise, you can't really wander around and see what's what.
All these things were designed to bring people into this building and make them feel ownership and connection and belonging.
And I think that feeling sticks with them, and the more they'll feel confident in going to other venues, because they'll think, oh, well, that must be a little bit like that place and I love it there.
The other thing that you feel when you're in the building is that you don't want to leave.
So I think without this, you would lose what is really not just a hub, but it's a centrepiece to the East End.
I think in many ways it feels like it's just the beginning. It's certainly not the end. It might be an end, but it's the beginning of new connections, new work together, new creations, and I'm really grateful for that.
I think the most important thing would be that we've saved an amazing building. It's been, once again, a vibrant part of the city, and it has impacted a lot of lives, but it could do more.
It needs to continue living and performing itself.
There's no point in just restoring the church and leaving it standing. It's got to be living within the community.
It's not just a blue plaque on a fence somewhere. It'll be here for another 300 years. And I think it's up to us, all of us, to make sure that it does get used. This was a vibrant place and it can be again. This is your church.
No matter what happens to this place in the future, it's ours. And for a short period of time, it was 100% ours. And I think we used it the right way. We made stuff, we created stuff, we invited people in. It was a place where you were safe, where you were warm and you were welcome.
This is our building and our history, and together we are part of it. We carry it in our heart. What it's given us in the last year, what it's given us in the last 3 years, what it's given us since 1719. A sense of home and community and heart right in the East End of Sunderland.
Thanks to everybody who's been involved in the project. The first people that jump to mind are the people that are closest to us, the team, the volunteers that have worked with us right through the project, our funders, the smaller foundations and trusts that gave a little bit of money right at the beginning, right through to the community groups that fundraise for specific items, and then up to our major grant funders, which is National Lottery Heritage Fund, Sunderland City Council, Benefact Trust and Churches Conservation Trust. As a result of that conservation, we've got this amazing building that is now back in use. Something that fell out of disrepair has come back to being a really vibrant part of the city again.